Cheers, I do, buckaroos, and how the heck are you? I am Don the Beer Whisperer. Hey, we're getting closer to Christmas. I'm going through my magical beer fridge. So I pulled out one here. It is, what is it, Tom? It is the Chug Chug Suckle Suckle. It is their 10% a double New England IPA. You know, I'm on record as not being the biggest fan of the style, but I don't mind them. I just don't find them to be the be-all, end-all of IPAs. Or quite frankly, I don't even know that they ought to classify as an IPA, to be honest with you. Because if we're going just by the numbers, the ABV, the IBU, they really don't line up with what a traditional IPA is. However, having said that, I mean, they've been around too long now to be considered a trend or a fad, I suppose. They're here to stay. And I find that they're better for me anyway when you have a nice day. And I have about a 60-degree day here in late December here in the Ozarks with this which is rather rare. It is like the weather I grew up with in Southern California. So the aromas, you're going to get the aromas that you expect from a beer like this. A lot of deep, bright citrus. You're going to find some herbal notes mixed in there. You're going to find some botanical notes in there. It has that creamy citrus nose that you expect from a beer like this. But yeah, it's nice. It's pleasant. You get notes of fresh grated orange, grapefruit, and I'm going to even say lime zest. Well, and that 10% is rather dangerous. It is. Because it doesn't feel like it. I was cranking some Christmas music, but of course it stops when I hit the start button here. Oh, mercy. So the flavors before I drank the whole glass full, which was what I just about did there. Anyway, that was nice, man. Yeah, I've got such a bright day. I don't have any meat in my fridge or freezer. I wish I did because I'd love to be chucking something on the grill right about now. Yeah, I feel like I ought to be smoking something. It's so nice out here. Instead, I've got soup cooking on a 60-degree day. Who does that? I'm cooking soup. Mostly because it's what I have left. But yeah, I haven't been to the store in a while, and I don't have any meat in the fridge. I rarely run out of meat completely, but we're pretty well tapped. Don't feel bad. I got plenty of food. I'm not going to starve to death, and I could probably go a while without eating before it really affects me much. Belly wise, anyway. But yeah, no, I wish I had something on here to chuck because it feels like a day I ought to be smoking something that's nice. It's not only that it's warm out here, but I've got these great blue skies. It's just beautiful. It's like a spring day out here in the Ozarks. So in this particular case, the flavors match the aromas. You got that combination of orange and grapefruit, along with that, those creamy notes. Almost feels like an orange grapefruit Julius kind of thing going on. You do have some herbal notes. You've got some botanicals that help clean her up in the finish. Yeah, these beers are nice. I mean, they do feel like summer fare to me. Because if the weather was like it had been typically at this time of year, yeah, I'd want a beer with a little more meat on its bones than something like this. But I can't see the popularity, I suppose. I'm just not one that really, wants or needs my beer to taste like orange juice. Because if I want orange juice, I'm going to drink orange juice. However, what they've done with this thing is rather incredible. 10%. I cannot believe it's 10% because it doesn't feel like I'm drinking a 10% beer, man. Wow. That's just easy to drink, man. So anyway, I will be back with part two. We'll call one of these. We'll call this video one of those, at the pub with the beer whisperer videos, or in this case, we're on the beer garden with the beer whisperer. Anyway, I digress. Well, cheers, hey, dude, buckaroos, and how the heck are you? Welcome back to the Beer Whisperer Pub. I am a Beer Whisperer. Sometimes I go into AM radio voice for no apparent reason. How the heck are you, man? It's incredibly nice out here today. It's a Sunday as I do this video before Christmas. It's absolutely gorgeous out here. I wish I had something to chuck on the grill. It's a smoking day, man. Yeah, man, this is one of these days I wish I'd have put something on here about 5 o'clock in the morning. Anyway, as I'm finishing my Chug Chug Suckle Suckle here, the double version of their New England style IPA. I was looking for the date on the can here. Enjoyed by... Boy, that's hard to read, isn't it? Good gravy, Mabel. I can't read that. I got that date on the crease here, and I can't read. Anyway, I got this a couple months ago. I'm probably right at to where I ought to drink anyway. I drank two right away. Somehow two got kind of pushed to the back, and I ended up not drinking. But hey, they taste fine to me. I mean, there were those. I think these beers have to be drank the second they're put in a can. To my recollection, this tastes as good as the first one. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with letting stuff sit. I don't typically intentionally age much. Barrel-aged imperial stouts possibly, but I honestly don't intentionally age anything. Sometimes things just get forgot about. I always intend to get to it. Got a bottle of Mother Squashed in the fridge. I don't think they've made that beer in like 3 years. I don't know how old the one I have is. Probably ought to get drank this year, but if I end up meeting some friends somewhere, go to a bottle share, I'll probably bring it just to see what the hell, because you never know, right? I've got some various incarnations of MILF or Mater Familias, as it's known now. The beer formerly known as MILF, as I like to refer to it as. Anyway, let me finish this up. We're going to go to beer number 2 here at the pub with the Beer Whisperer. Anyway, cheers. So I was looking for pairings, or not necessarily a pairing, but a beer to follow that one up with. I had some various options in there, and I decided ultimately to go with the stout, but not just a regular stout, Schlafly dry hop stout. I thought, well, the stout notes will kind of break it up a little bit, but being a dry hop stout, it still got some of those nice notes. So anyway. 5.7%, 40 IBUs, St. Louis. It has that tropical stout feel. You get those nice stout notes on the nose. Certainly some roasted barley. You find some. I certainly get some chocolate notes. It's like a malted chocolate notes, if that makes sense to you. But dry hopped, yeah, you certainly feel some of those. You feel some hoppage. You feel those tropical stout-like hop notes, I should say. Yeah, that works. Yeah, because I wanted something to kind of break that up, right? That tart, that juice flavor that New England has, and go a completely different direction. But I didn't want it to be completely disjointed. And 10%, I did need to bring that ABV down. Sometimes I take that ABV up a notch. In this particular case, I wanted to bring that ABV down. Typically if I go out, if I have 2, 3, 4 beers out somewhere, I rarely order the same beer twice. I mean, almost never. And the only time I would is if either the options are extremely slim, or it's a seasonal that I really want 2 of. And even in that case, to be honest with you, I don't drink them back to back. For instance, Sleeping Bear is one of my favorite seasonals from Show Me. So if they have it on tap, I'll start with that beer. Then I'll go to something else to kind of break it up a little bit. But if I'm only going to have 3, then I'll go back to that Sleeping one last time if I know that's going to be the last of it. They are making more of it now than they used to. When it first came out, it was a one time thing, but it's been so popular that they've almost had to make more of it. And it's been starting to come out, earlier and earlier. I think they brought out the first batch in October this year. I would honestly, I would love to see it be a year rounder, more or less. I mean, it doesn't need to be constantly on tap, but I would like to see it pop up at least once per season. In all honesty, but that's just because I love the style. I love you know, uh, that dark IPA or black IPA, as people want to call them. I like to refer to them as India Dark, but hey, whatever you like. But one thing they do different with theirs than a lot of folks do is they're basically making a tropical an imperial tropical stout. I mean they have has those big roasted barley notes where a lot of them will leave out those roasted barley. A lot of folks think it makes the beer astringent. I personally do not. Not in the case of that beer anyway, because what they're doing out there is just incredible. I mean, for all intents and purposes, Andy's the head brewer out there. Although he'll never refer to himself that way, and whenever you talk about his skills as a brewer, he kind of downplays it. And they're only brewing 10 gallons at a time, so I don't know how it would be if they were to upscale the brewery if he was to brew on a larger scale. But even saying that, I don't think there's anybody better out there. The way he brews, the meticulous nature of all the folks out there. Andy's dad, John. John, the other brewer, who's got some great skills too. What's great is they all three had come to it with different sensibilities, which is why that is my absolute favorite place. Do I think everything they do is a home run? No, but there's so much variety. Anytime I get somebody from out of town, they want to talk about the breweries that they've seen on various social media. I said, you need to go to this one because what you're going to have there, you're never going to find. And when you go to, check it into whatever social media, you're likely to be the first one to do so. And that, again, the variety. Most breweries you can see where that brewer's at, right? In the early days of White River Brewing here in town, the head brewer out there is a great brewer, and he's a local legend around here. But everything tasted like a Belgian beer, no matter what style it was. But with those three guys out there, they've got you will find 12 beers on tap most of the time, and it's all over the board. You never know what you're going to find up there, which is the main reason I think any beer guy that ever comes to Springfield, if you want to hit Mother's, you want to hit Springfield Brewing Company, you want to hit any place else in town, that's fine. But make time to hit that one because that's the one that's special in my opinion. Anyway, I digress. I got off the track there. Schlafly's doing some great stuff in St. Louis, but what I just did there, that little ode to show me, is one of the reasons I don't like to refer to myself as a beer reviewer. I'm a guy who likes beer, likes to talk about beer. So that's why I like to refer to these videos as at the pub. We're just having a conversation, you and I. Oh, excuse me, and sorry about that. Hope I didn't get any audio. That was brutal. I'm glad you can't smell. That was wicked. Had some buffalo chicken strips for lunch. Ooh, they're coming back at me. They're coming back at me hard, man. Oh goodness, that's gonna hurt later. I'll tell you what. Anyway, Schlafly. I've been to the Bottle Works a couple times. Been in the tap room a couple times. I think they're probably one of the most underrated breweries, not just in St. Louis, probably in all of Missouri. There's always, you're always talking about this, that, or the other brewery, especially in the St. Louis area. And Schlafly's been doing good beer for a very long time, and they're kind of known as just that brewery that's been there. And I think they're as good as any brewery in St. Louis. But St. Louis has a lot of damn fine breweries. I think St. Louis Brewery. Schlafly doesn't get that notice because they're not typically doing trendy beers. They're just doing good beer all the damn time. So there you go. I need to wrap this up or run along. Sometimes that happens, man. Anyway, you weren't doing anything anyway, were you? Pause it, go take a pee, and come back, turn it back on again. Anyway, I digress. Oh, shit, biscuits and gravy. Anyway, I am. I'm a very colorful human being. Anyway, It's my upbringing, man. Irish Catholic. Spent a lot of time in bars as a kid. What an interesting upbringing. Anyway, kind of lost myself for a second. Glad I found myself. I'm Tony the Beer Whisperer, beer evangelist, woo, prolific beer drinker. That 10% is starting to kick in now. Did you feel it? Oh man, just hit me. I am Tom the Beer Whisperer, beer evangelist, prolific beer drinker, purveyor wisdom man. All around good guy. Shit a biscuit. Wow.